Three of us assigned to the 25th from our Fort Rucker days talked things over after hearing that and decided that we were in no hurry to get to our assignment. Actually, we didn't know what our assigned duties would be. Although we were trained as helicopter mechanics, we could be assigned to the infantry or anything, as the talk was going. We decided Vietnam was a screwed up place. As we were in our tent area, we could hear bombings going on not far from us. Geez, the United States is a big and powerful country, and yet it sounded to us that the enemy had the upper hand in the area. We felt we were lied to. The Vietnamese civilians didn't seem to like us, and we were in a precarious position militarily. There was a loud explosion and things kept blowing up all that night. The story was that the ammo dump was blown up probably by sappers. And then there was an earth-shaking bombing by B-52S close to us. It was a fairly sleepless night for us, and we still were not given rifles. What a mess. Next morning, Denny and I decided to look around the area and see what's up. We kept fairly close to our tent area so that we could see any helicopter coming in to pick us up. Denny and I, as good friends, discussed what condition our position was in. We decided it wasn't good. Well, it's war, we figured, but things seemed to be so up for grabs and disorganized. We were carrying the only papers that said who we were and where we were. We could probably get lost in the shuffle somehow, we figured. We found a little Vietnamese cafe-type place about 70 yards from where our tent area was located. In the cafe there was an up-to-date rock and roll jukebox, and they served hot dogs, sodas, and Schlitz beer in cans. It was small with a few tables and chairs, a ceiling fan, and had windows without glass overlooking where the helicopter had to land to pick us up, and the Vietnamese were friendly enough. Perfect as our new waiting and discussion area. So, if we decide to get lost in the crazy army disorganization that was going on, how do we do it, Denny and I thought?
Well, we did carry all our papers with us. The only proof that we were here was around our necks as dog tags and the manila envelope that we carried. We could probably pull our papers and pretend we were stationed here in Long Binh, which we were told was a very secure area compared to the outer areas of Vietnam. We might be able to drink beer and listen to the jukebox the rest of the year right here in this cafe if we could forge fake orders or get some clerk to do it for us. With fake orders, we could still receive our army pay and yet have no real duties but could be stationed on this base. It was possible, we thought, but then we thought that if we dodged our assignment, it wouldn't be fair to the other guys that went and did what they were told to do here. We would be no better than deserters or guys that dodged the draft one way or another and let others fight their fight for them. Personally, I didn't dislike draft dodgers that much, but I had a scale in my head of guys who had integrity and honor, and guys who didn't. The guys who had integrity and honor were in the military. Guys that didn't have what it takes to be a brave and responsible male didn't have it, and probably never would. None of those guys could be trusted, we figured, and in most cases we were right. When the country was at war, only the best went to fight it. The United States wouldn't be the United States without guys like us, we figured. I know most of us looked down on guys who were not in the military service at that time, and 50-something years later still do. So, with all that spinning around in our heads, along with great music and Schlitz beer, Denny and I decided that even if we could get away with dodging the combat here, it just wouldn't be fair to the guys who died and are dying here. After all the army training that I have been through, I cannot think of one guy who wanted to kill anyone. So what's the difference between us and the draft dodgers? I think honor, courage, and duty. Denny and I agreed that we and the others here are the all-American heroes. Well, anyway, the music sounded great, and the beer was almost cold. 2 beers were enough for me or Denny to get a little dizzy. We were not used to drinking alcohol. Most of the time, Cokes were fine. We spent the better part of 5 days in the cafe. There was still a lot of explosions going on outside the perimeter wire day and night, but mostly night. And this was the safe area. Little did we know that the 5 days here were the best days we would spend in Vietnam.
Finally, one morning we were informed that a Huey helicopter probably would be arriving today to pick the 6 of us up with orders for Coochie and take us there. This will be a real experience for us. In all the training we had, none of us ever rode on a Huey helicopter. We could take one apart and put it back together again, but never had a flight on one. I was afraid of air sickness as planes, and I had different ideas about balance and gravity. Anyway, here comes the whop, whop, whop of the Huey rotor blades. Then the helicopter came in fast at low level, and the front end raised up like a horse reined back and landed in a swirl of dust. The helicopter engine started to shut down. The crew chief said that they had taken probably 2 new rounds through the aircraft on the way here from Cu Chi and wanted to check where they had hit, as they may have hit something important other than them personally. He said when bullets hit the aircraft that the crew could hear a tick through their earphones, which they all wore for communication inside the helicopter, something we never heard about in training. The crew chief looked skinny with dirty jungle fatigues on. The stains on the fatigues were both grease and blood, as I found out later when I had the same stains on my fatigues as a combat crew chief. The 2 pilots and the other door gunner also looked skinny and weary. The helicopter had blood on the floor, not reassuring. We told the crew chief that 3 of us were trained as helicopter mechanics at Fort Rucker, and he smiled and said that's where he was 3 months ago. He said he found 2 new bullet holes in the tail boom that luckily didn't hit the tail rotor drive shaft, and that the helicopter was okay to fly again. He gave the thumbs up to the pilots, and the turbine engine started to whine up to power. As 6 of us threw our duffel bags on the helicopter and jumped in, we noticed about 8 bullet holes in various places on the aircraft. We were trained in our helicopter mechanics course that all bullet holes should be repaired with sheet metal to keep the airframe in a ridged condition so as not to have undue stress on parts of the airframe. Well, so much for that. We new guys were not happy at all with what we were seeing and experiencing since arriving in country, as the veterans called it. It's beginning to feel like Alice in Wonderland, but not in a good way. Some of us began to call Vietnam Fantasyland. It was just so surreal to us, just 3 months out of training, and this crew chief looks terrible, and so does his helicopter. Well, from what we were hearing in Long Bin, he and his crew are lucky to still be alive and flying, and we have a year in front of us.